editing just audio. Wait,
Why?
It's boring.
I would think that it's the easiest thing.
No, I just don't like doing it because there's nothing visually stimulating for me to like keep my interest on them. I'm just looking at waveforms.
ADD.
No, like bad.
It's probably pretty much just like listening to it and waiting for someone to say something stupid and then like, oh, gotta cut that shit out.
Basically, it's just like, at least with video, like I have something like interesting to look at the entire time. Like fucking like moving this thing around like it owes me money.
Yeah, I want to talk about that. Like, what got us into gaming and what keeps us into gaming.
Oh god, that's a fuck. How about this? We'll just fucking wing it today.
You want to wing it?
I'm gonna wing it.
Fuck it. We'll do it live.
We're doing it live right now. It's already recording.
Yeah, I know.
Hello, everybody. My name is Alex.
My name's Ben.
I'm Jode.
Hey, Jody.
And welcome to the Immature Hour podcast, number 15, where we all have lots of opinions and
Nobody gives a shit.
they ain't shit. Jody, your opinion ain't shit.
So, you know what I'm curious about? Something that I haven't heard about in a while?
What?
Sean Murray.
Sean Murray.
God damn it. Fucking John's gonna listen to the first 10 seconds of the podcast and like, what the fuck?
Like, all joking aside, I'm kind of curious as to what Dean Hall's up to.
Who's Dean Hall?
He's the owner
Daisy.
of... Yeah, Bohemian Interactive.
No, he left.
Well, I mean, he was the owner of Bohemian Interactive.
I don't think he was the owner, because he was originally a mod designer or creator who made the Arma 2 mod DayZ.
Okay.
Yeah.
Started the DayZ standalone, and like maybe 2 years ago was just like, bye guys.
Peace.
Is that
And
still
peaced
in
out.
early access?
Yes.
Yeah, it's been in early access for like 4 years. Like,
dude.
Literally, we bought the early access in 2012.
Yep.
No shit.
Yeah.
Dude bounced out and went to go start his another company, and he made a VR game called Out of Ammo. And
Have you played it?
No, I haven't played it because I refused to buy it because of Dean Hall.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was really weird because we played a decent bit of DayZ.
I've played a lot of DayZ.
Yeah,
Right.
I've played probably about 100 hours. He's probably played like triple that.
Yeah.
So like 300 hours.
Like, yeah, 300 to 400 hours.
Yeah, we played a lot together too, and it was just like that was back whenever he lived in like Charles. He would fucking like I would take a weekend off of work. He would like come over on a Friday after he got off work, stay at my house all weekend, and like we would wake up, play DayZ all day, go to bed, wake up, play DayZ all day. Like that was our fucking.
So,
like,
do y'all
thing.
feel that there should be a time limit on early access games? Like, hey, look, okay, this can go into early access, but if you haven't pulled out the full game within 2 years, then that's it. Like, this is just a free game at this point.
How about that? That's gonna be our topic today. We talked
Early
about
access?
we had talked about talking about early access, but we never really gave it a big discussion.
By the way, it's only 212 hours.
Oh well,
I have
Still.
my roommate's little brother has like 600 to 800 hours into it. We met somebody on DayZ who has well over 1,500 hours into it.
why,
Dude, it's like ridiculous. Like I can't understand how you can put that much time into that game. Like, granted, the idea behind DayZ is really cool, but it's just there's so many flaws and bugs to the system, and it's like it's more brutal than Ark at times because like whenever you lose it, you lose everything, and you have like no hope in the world to get any of your shit back.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said 1,500 hours, right?
Divided by 24 hours a day. No, divide by 18 hours a day to give you about 7 hours of sleep.
Okay,
No, 6 hours of sleep.
6
That's bad
hours of
math.
sleep.
Bad math.
So that's. Well, wait, that's not how we're gonna do that. It's been out for 15 years. 15 years.
Basically, you're not.
It's been out for 4 years.
roughly, yeah.
I think it's like 2012.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll just say 4 years. Okay, so that's 375 hours a year that somebody who's put 1,500 hours into DayZ. That is 7 hours a week. So,
That's not
okay, that's
bad.
not bad.
Because I used to get because I would get home, and in preparation for me and Alex playing together, I would get on and just go run around by myself and collect a bunch of stuff. And then come the weekend, I'd find him and, hey man, I found this gun for you, found this food, here we go, like let's get started.
Uh huh.
That would,
So that's not bad. That's
yeah.
like
That would be as if that person would have played 62 and a half days nonstop, like 24 hours a day, 62 and a half days.
And honestly, some of the people who play DayZ, I wouldn't doubt they play like 2 days in a row, 24 hours, 48 hours straight.
That's just ridiculous.
Dude, some of the people who play DayZ are like hardcore into it, and that's all they do, and that's all they think about.
So what you're saying is that we need to do another 48-hour live stream of just DayZ.
Of just DayZ.
I think we would lose subscribers.
Can we do that for Ark?
I think we get negative subscribers.
Yeah.
Dude, doing Ark for a live stream would actually be pretty funny. Like, we'd have to start fresh on, like, Scorched Earth or something.
That would actually be pretty cool.
Oh, God, dude, we'd fucking die so much.
I'd play it.
But to go back to your question, I think if the game has made no major progress, then yes. But at the same time, I think not, because there are some companies who aren't, I say companies, there's some people who are making games it's literally like two people making the game.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like Overgrowth.
Speaking of, I have Overgrowth now.
Okay.
I got it in the Humble Bundle.
I think Overgrowth is literally one person making the game.
Wow, really?
Yeah, and it's same thing with DayZ. It's been in early access probably since before DayZ, honestly.
For quite a while.
It's been in early access for quite a while, and it's like just now getting into beta.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I didn't realize I finally got into beta.
But like I said, it's literally one dude making the game. And like in instances like that, the dude probably had to put it on early access to get money to continue making the game. So in situations like that, I think, yeah. But like in DayZ's case, they have teams dedicated to specific things. Like Bohemian Interactive is helping them make DayZ. Mm-hmm. And there's no reason it should still be in early access right now.
Right.
Yeah, they have a very large team because Bohemian Interactive has made quite a bit of like decent high profile games.
Yeah.
So would you consider DayZ to be an indie game?
Oh,
Or
no.
Would that okay? So then there's the difference.
It started off as an indie game because like originally the original DayZ mod was created by Dean Hall by himself.
Right.
He modded Arma 2 because he didn't have like it had the infrastructure to be able to just support and just edit what he wanted to add to it. And fucking DayZ skyrocketed. I remember this was back whenever you and I, Jode, listened to a lot of the Rooster Teeth podcast, and they were talking about a lot like playing DayZ and stuff.
Yeah.
And then you played a lot. You told me about it, but I didn't have Arma 2, so I never picked it up.
I played quite a bit of the mod.
And so it's like I wouldn't even consider it an indie game at this point, just because for how much they sold it for, and how long it was the number one seller on Steam. It was the number one seller on Steam for like 2 years straight.
Yeah, it was in
Really?
the top 10 for years.
For years. Whenever you go on Steam and you click on top selling, it was in that top 10 list for years straight. And it just recently, within the past year and a half, left that top 10. It's actually nowhere even near the top 10 anymore.
Yeah.
On Steam, can you see like how many people have downloaded or bought the game?
That I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Damn. I'd be very curious to see that. So like how much is it? Like typically like $30?
I think it's like 35.
35?
Originally it was $30, then it went up to 35. But yeah, right now
That's
it's about
another
$35.
interesting, like, why go up on an early access game?
Because they're pieces of shit and they need more money.
Yeah.
Right?
Because they blew all their money on fucking hookers.
You would think that they'd want to
Hookers
go
and blow.
down, like from $30 to like 25, just
Yeah.
to get more people to buy it, thus more money.
I think the problem is the people who are working on DayZ know how popular it is, and they're kind of getting full of themselves, and that's why they're taking so long.
And I was about to say,
That's my personal opinion. Like, I think they're a bunch of assholes and
Yeah.
they're full of themselves.
well, and to go off of that as well, like one of my personal opinions, I would imagine that the reason they bumped up the price is because they're in that top 10 selling slot for so long. They're like, we could be making $5 more per person buying this.
Sure. So do you think it has a, and I'm going to call it a Half-Life 3 syndrome, where, like, I feel that Valve hasn't put out Half-Life 3 because it has been so hyped and such, like, a legend at this point that it's not going to live up to the expectations. So do you think that DayZ is kind of something similar where it's like, well, fuck, yeah, man, we've been fucking developing it for 4 years and this is early access, like, people aren't going to be happy.
I guess the difference is that I feel like that they're not even developing it anymore.
No.
Like, they put out so little updates for it now.
And the updates now are like, oh, we fixed this bug. Have fun, guys.
Like, they do so little with it now.
Yeah.
Like, it's, like, I believe that's one, like, it's starting to become, like, less and less highly rated over time. Like, it's just, like, it's a good game for what it is. Like you hop in the game, you have to survive. It's difficult to survive at the beginning. Once you kind of get the hang of it, it's a little bit easier. But it's like it kind of has like a lot of like role playing factors kind of going into it in the standard game, which makes it a little more interesting for a survival game. But it's like I don't know.
I'll say like if the standalone game is anywhere near what the mod was, then it'll definitely like because the mod is my expectations basically. But I don't think the game's ever going to be finished.
Me neither.
And
It doesn't sound like it.
The shitty thing is like people are making mods for Arma 3 now that are 10 times better than the standalone. Like it's ridiculous that like people who are making mods are making better games than a whole company making a game.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, now granted, the modders, they're just editing a pre-existing architecture. So they're just kind of adding extra stuff.
The DayZ's the exact same thing. Like they're using the Arma 3 engine.
Are they?
Yeah.
I mean, are they using
Arma
the engine
3 or the 2?
but-
No, they're using the Arma 3
I was
engine.
saying
Okay.
they may be using the engine, but are they using all the assets and shit from the game as well?
I mean, more
Probably.
or less, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, maybe not everything, but I
Yeah.
mean, they have the Chernarus map, which was in Arma 2. You know, they're using some of the same physics. So it's like,
I guess actually that makes sense because Bohemian Interactive made Arma.
yeah, like,
So I mean, yeah, I guess
I
that
don't
makes
wanna-
sense why they would use those things.
I don't want to say DayZ Standalone is a mod, but DayZ Standalone is a mod. Like, it's a mod with a new user interface and, like, maybe some different items and stuff added to it. Like, if I loaded up Arma and was like, here, play Arma, you would understand how to play Arma.
Okay.
Maybe not, like, completely understand how to play Arma, but you would be able to play Arma. It would take you a little while to adjust it to the user interface, but you would get it.
Just because it's very similar to
Yeah.
DayZ. It's very interesting because like talking about like DayZ and like the things that they did wrong. I feel like that to go in the opposite direction, there are games like Rust, which I feel like actually did a lot better of a job. Like so, for instance, I feel like that DayZ, they have a lot of issues with their game, like bugs, like just the way like everything that interacts is super clunky, and you
Yeah.
know what I'm talking about. It's like fucking hard to control anything.
Like, scared to drop something on the ground because you're afraid it's going to disappear.
Yeah, or just
Like
like
fall
the,
through the ground?
Like the
Yeah.
way you have to interact with stuff is super weird.
Welcome back to the podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alex, for
So-
derailing us. I don't remember what we were talking about.
Rust. So
Oh, yes. Okay.
Rust is really interesting in that I feel like that Rust has kind of gone the opposite direction of DayZ in that it kind of took the right route. That being said, Rust has been in early access almost as long as DayZ.
Really?
Yeah.
But they're making progress.
Yes, like
Well, they also like everything they had were like basically threw it in the trash and started over.
yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So and that's why I wanted to bring it up because DayZ is very clunky. It's very hard to work just in general, and I feel like that's a product of them trying to rewrite existing code constantly, and it's causing a lot of issues. Mm-hmm. Whenever we were playing Rust and we kept up with Rust was in a very similar situation where they've openly posted about like it's getting harder and harder to develop for Rust because the way that they initially wrote the foundation code was getting harder and harder to change and rewrite and edit. And so it got to the point where they're just like, we can't really do much with this anymore, but we want to continue with the game. So they scrapped the entire thing and started from scratch.
No shit.
But what they did was they did it as they kept the current Rust running and kept it like semi-supported to like keep bugs from happening. But on the back end, they started over complete fresh and they opened that up as like test servers. And now that's the only Rust that exists, and it's significantly different. I say significantly different. It's like it's very much different than what it was. Like the same concept, the same feel of the game, but it's like everything controls way better. And I feel like that's where Rust went. That DayZ should have went. DayZ
Yeah.
should have just fucking like just cut their losses, or like we can't develop properly for this anymore. We need to start from scratch.
Well, yeah, you have to also think though. Like, so DayZ started 4 years ago, right? We said that 2012.
The standalone, yeah.
The standalone, yeah. So now they're developing on a 4-year-old technology, like 4-year-old everything, engines.
Well, the engines aren't 4 years old because Arma 3 came out in like 2013, 2014.
Still not helping it. 3
I was
years.
gonna say, I think Arma 3's been out as long as the standalone has.
Are you sure?
I think so.
I've never played Arma, so I have no idea. I'm just spitballing.
Because I remember when
But-
this, I got into the DayZ mod. I was like, why is this on Arma 2 and not on Arma 3?
Have either of you two played EverQuest?
No.
No.
No. So EverQuest
That
was
look of judgment that Jody shot you.
No.
Yeah, no. So EverQuest was my first MMO, and actually it caused me to get my first job cutting grass, just so that way I can pay the monthly $10 a month deal.
The optional $10 a month? Or was that...
No, it was required at that
Because
time.
I know
was in
now it's
middle school.
optional.
I was in middle school, so like I had to go around start cutting fucking grass to get money.
Wah.
It would suck. Anyways, partway through EverQuest, so it started up, and then like 2 years later, they had a complete overhaul, like a graphics overhaul and just everything overhaul, UI overhaul, everything. But it was like a free patch that came in. Like you downloaded the patch and boom. Now, if you wanted to, you can actually switch back to the previous graphics and user interface and all that good shit. But it was free. So do you think that DayZ should have something similar to it, where like, hey, we've been developing this for 4 years, not much has changed, but secretly we've been working on this shit in the background. Boom, here it is.
Hey, Ben, newsflash. They have to actually work on the game to be able to do that.
Yeah, I know, but what if they are and we just don't know?
I doubt it.
I really wish they would. Like, because it's such... Like, now, Steam is so saturated with zombie survival bullshit. But DayZ was the original.
Yeah.
Like,
DayZ was the original.
DayZ was the original, and it was such an original concept, and no one has come close. I say no one's come close. There's... I don't know how to say it. Like, there's no game like DayZ, and if DayZ wasn't so buggy, it would actually be enjoyable. And like, I don't know what I'm trying to say anymore.
I was gonna say, to be honest, like if I were to compare DayZ to any other game, like with closeness of scope and scale, 7 Days to Die would probably be as close as I could probably compare to DayZ. Because just like game mechanics are relatively similar, just like the functionality of the surviving, but it's not as like there's no game that's quite as difficult as DayZ.
Right.
DayZ is pretty fucking hard.
I really forgot what I was gonna say.
I'm sorry.
No, it was before, but I feel like it was important.
It probably was.
What was your question?
I don't remember.
Flipping graphics.
Oh, yeah, like updating the... Thank you, Alex.
You're welcome. My ADD does good for sometimes.
I don't think I really had a point, honestly.
JK.
Just break, bro.
Well, it's really interesting because like I think that like I feel like early access has a very bad rap, which I mean it's not necessarily it's not unwarranted. The concept of like pay me now and then I'll develop you a game is in a way is kind of a shitty thing, but I feel like it has its merits and it has its uses. Like just because like if you think about it, for the indie developers, for people who are like I want to make this game, but I want to do it my way. I don't want to work for a large company like EA or be under like a EA umbrella or Ubisoft umbrella or whatever. They don't want to have to be monitored. They have to have a way to fund their game somehow. And so like I feel like that there are some companies and some games that did early access right. The two games I can think of immediately are Subnautica and Ark. Those are two games that have been constantly like supported and updated, adding new features, and they're both like just like they're so feature rich that you don't feel like other than the fact that it's buggy as fuck, like you don't feel like you're playing an early access game. You feel like you're playing a full game release. I mean, like fuck, dude, we put like 140 hours into Ark.
Yeah.
And I mean, granted, that game is buggy as fuck sometimes, but like that game has a lot more feature and functionality to it than most like full release like titles. And I feel the same way with like Subnautica, because Subnautica is just like it's beautiful, like the scale is grand, like there's a lot to do in the game in general, and I feel like that the developers did a really good job of like working hard to make their vision. So I can see that like early access is very useful, but then like you have the fucking daisies of the world, which they're
And that's the thing.
Giving
like,
it a bad rap.
DayZ put a bad taste in everyone's mouth. Because, like, the way I look at early access is it's supporting someone's art, basically.
Yeah.
And should I step away from?
No, it's me.
Okay.
Turn me up.
It's not you, it's me.
It's supporting someone's art, and like if you personally, if I see a game that I'm remotely interested in, I keep an eye on it, and I watch the reviews, especially if it's like relatively new. I keep an eye on it and like watch it and see like how the price fluctuates and like see the reviews and shit. And if it usually comes to points where I'm like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna buy it for full price. I will say the one thing that gets me about early access is some of these people are asking way too much money for their games. I understand it's your baby and you think you deserve $20 for this side-scrolling piece of shit game, but it's kind of ridiculous. Especially for something that like, and this is me as like a consumer, I think asking $20 for an early access game that's going to take you 4 years to develop is kind of ridiculous. Early access should be like, oh, I'm going to pay $10, $15 for this game, unless it's something like Ark. Like Ark, Subnautica, The Forest. There's a couple other like really good, like very well put together early access games that I would gladly pay $20, $25 for.
Yeah.
So
I
then
mean, even like to go on that, like I think Subnautica is standard like $20. Like that's it.
So then it sounds like there's a sweet spot where they have to develop so much of the game first and make sure that it's functional before they release it into early access.
Yeah.
They can't just like, oh, look, we have an open world. Let's early access.
Pretty much.
You know?
Yeah, like basically,
make it worthwhile
like,
playing.
like here's $20 and then you load in as the fucking Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 like a level creator. Just empty with a character.
That being said, a lot of early access games have to actually get voted into early access.
Not
Really?
anymore.
Not anymore?
They're
They
changing
don't
that now.
greenlight it anymore?
They're
they got rid of Greenlight.
Steam, so I guess here's a topic to talk about. Steam announced, I think it was earlier this week, that they are getting rid of Greenlight.
Okay.
They're actually going to be doing a self-publishing model now, to where a developer
So basically, if I was like, hey, I want to put a game up on early access, I could do it.
you have to pay a fee though.
Okay.
There's a fee, and the fee can range anywhere from like $200 to like $2,000.
Okay.
And so that's supposed to kind of weed out the shit. I think there's also a specific algorithm that they use to kind of help determine those things. I haven't really read too much about it. All I know is that they're going more in for like just the style of being able to self-publish without having to go through the Greenlight fashion.
Okay.
I'm curious to see what happens with it.
I kind of feel like it's gonna weed like a lot of the bullshit out, and a lot of the people, like I said, charging $20 for a shitty game. Not saying like, I mean, there's some shitty early access games out there, but like, it's a lot of it is like a lot of their shitty games are like some dude who just learned how to code and was like, oh, I'm gonna make this game, or bought a game making program, was like, oh, I'm gonna make this game and put it out for $15, and it's like a $5 game.
Yeah, early access is a really curious thing. It's like I feel like it's been a point of contention for a lot of people just in general.
I will say, the only early access games I will pay full price for are VR games, because I feel like the amount of work that goes into making a VR game is significantly more than just like downloading a program to make a side-scrolling game or to download RPG Maker. Not saying that people who use RPG Maker and like other programs like that, your games are shit, but a lot of games on there are shit.
I don't know if it'll actually requires that much more work to create a VR game.
I really don't know.
Yeah,
Like,
But I mean,
I personally, I feel like it does, because it
It probably
maybe
does.
not like coding wise, but like creativity wise, because you're not thinking two dimensionally anymore.
Okay.
You're thinking 3-dimensionally.
you're thinking with portals.
Exactly, and it's like,
Shut up.
I don't know, I just feel like if you can make a game that looks fucking awesome, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna get that.
That you can interact with.
And I get it, and it's actually fun and interactive. It's like, man, I'm like, I bought, it's not early access, but it had pretty bad reviews. I say pretty bad. It was mixed on Steam. The new John Wick game, and
Okay.
I got it, spent $20 for it, and was like, man, I really hope I don't regret spending $20 for it. Played it for like 45 minutes. I was like, man, that was $20 worth of fun. And
Really?
I do that a
45
lot
minutes worth?
I mean,
See, I would say VR is very complicated because I feel like for VR, because it's such a new thing, you're paying for you're paying for experiences.
yeah.
Right.
You're a non-VR peasant at this point. You haven't tried VR before, huh?
I've never tried VR yet.
Damn.
I'm sure my opinion on it will change once I put a headset on my head.
We're gonna have to pop his VR cherry soon.
Yeah.
I'm down. I'm down.
But yeah, I got a couple early access games. There was only one that I bought that I was like, it was like 10% off. And I got it and I was like, eh. But it was because the game itself is very like bland as of now. But I mean, it's still fun. Like everything, like early access VR so far is like, yeah, there's some shit out there still, but it's like, it's easier to weed out the shit. It's not like, oh, I'm going to take a gamble on this game and hopefully it gets done. But VR, it's like, okay, cool, this game's fun. Hopefully they don't fuck it up anymore.
Do you think that that VR games are overpriced? So, okay, think of it this way. Whenever a new piece of technology comes out, it's always overpriced.
Yeah.
Right? Like a brand new 8K TV comes out and it's $6,000. And then like 2 years later, they're $500.
Don't get me started on that shit. Like not the pricing, just the concept of fucking 8K and 4K and shit. I have lots of opinions.
I needed to find something to
Like-
as an example. But do you think that like right now, the technology is not really there, and like 5 years from now it will be, but the games will also be a lot cheaper?
Personally, I think the technology is here.
You think?
I think it's just a matter of like the company's figuring out how to optimize it.
Yeah, I was about to say, because I feel like the technology just hasn't been out actively for long enough time to warrant having a lot of games developed for it.
Yeah. I will say, there are a lot of games out for VR. Like, there's a lot more than you think. Like I said, a lot of them are shit. But there's a handful of them. I say a handful. There's quite a bit of them that are actually really good games.
Quite exceptional.
I will say some of them are a bit pricey. Like, I'm going to throw Drop Simulator out there. It's $30.
Okay.
It's not a game that you're like, oh, I'm going to go and do this and like have an unlimited amount of fun with it. It's very like, oh, I'm going to complete this stage. All right, cool. I'm done. I don't want to play no more. But it's hard for me to say, like, because when I got my VR headset, like, I spent a lot of money on VR games. Like, I've spent well over $300 already on VR games. That being said, I don't regret any one of them.
Right.
Yeah, I've had plenty of fun with it. Also, the headset being $800, I was like, I really did not want to spend it, but I'm really glad I did.
Yeah?
Like, VR is a very, like, you can watch as many videos as you want. You can watch somebody play it as long as you want. But until you put that headset on, you have no idea what it's like.
Right.
It's very true. Like, whenever I went over to Jody's house for the first time and threw on that Vive, it's like a completely different experience. Like, it's one thing to watch people, but you don't physically grasp, like, how convincing it is until you throw the head. Like, it can be, like, the shittiest graphics ever, but it's still convincing.
Like,
right.
When you initially set up the Vive, it runs you through this, like, tutorial, basically. The tutorial was fucking awesome. I spent, like, an hour playing the fucking tutorial. And I was just like, and it was something stupid where, like, you had different buttons, and, like, each button did something different. And, like, I was basically sitting there blowing up balloons and shooting them with a laser. And I did that for, like, an hour. And it's, like, it's awesome.
So my next question about VR: what would be your perfect VR game?
GTA.
That's what I was thinking. GTA and VR.
Pornhub Simulator.
God. Don't they already have
Honestly,
that?
I'll take that back. Something along the lines of, like, Skyrim.
Skyrim in VR?
Yeah. Like, there's actually somebody...
Would you play Skyrim in VR?
I would live Skyrim.
You would live Skyrim in VR?
There's...
I would never leave.
there's actually
Bye, Alex.
I don't know who it is, but there's a small like demo out there right now called Spellfighter,
Okay.
which is very similar to Skyrim. The only thing is, the game's kind of hard. I say it's hard. Like, I haven't made it past like the second little town. There's hardly anything to the game, and it's one of those games that uses locomotion, which is you use the D-pad to walk around. Mm-hmm. Very sickening. Like, very sickening. But yeah, probably like something Skyrim-esque.
You know what would be my favorite? And I'm probably going to hate myself as soon as I put the game in and put the headset on. Some sort of Dark Souls VR. You're talking about getting sick? Like, imagine just having to like continually roll and get your iframes and quickly turn around and block and parry and...
Like, honestly, I would
get
think
so
anything that's like
sick.
open world. Mm-hmm. Anything, honestly.
Yeah, like, yeah, the only dude, that fucking, that way that you can move in certain VR games, like, because basically, like, if you haven't seen, there's two ways you can move. You can either teleport or do that fucking, like, slidey thing, and dude, fuck that. It's like, because it's so weird, because it's like, literally, you're standing still, but it's almost like you're on, like, a weird conveyor belt that just, like, slides you around like this.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Dude, it's fucking awful. It's like, I don't get motion sick ever, and it made me sick. Like, every time I do, I'm like, oh, because you're like, I'm not supposed to be moving. This is fucked up. Because I think it's also part of the thing, like, it kind of has to deal with like why it's like, it's so convincing, and that like you feel like you're there,
right?
And I think that's why it kind of like fucks with you, because you're like, I'm not moving. Why am I moving?
Yeah.
Whenever you teleport, it's a little bit different, because like there's a suspension of disbelief there.
Sure.
Like, when we were playing the fucking drunken bar fights game, every time I wanted to move, I had to like actually like widen my stance and lower myself down a little bit before I started doing it, because I felt like I was gonna get sick and fall over.
Dude, when I first downloaded Spellfighter, I was like, teleporting was taking too long, and I was like, I'm just gonna get used to it. I'm just gonna make myself get used to it. And I played for like an hour. When I was sick for like a few hours after I was done playing.
No shit.
But some games have actually worked around teleporting and the like locomotion stuff. There's an early access game called Climbing, which you like, I don't remember exactly how you do it, but I think you grab, like, you close your hands and do like this, like you're walking. You move your hands like you're walking, and you walk.
That's cool.
And it's still a little sickening. It's not nearly as bad as the locomotion, but it convinces your body that you're walking. Mm-hmm. Like, when you move your arms, it convinces you that you're walking, so you don't get as sick.
I can see that. So we were talking about Skyrim and possible VR and things like, or how cool that would be. Mm-hmm. So Skyrim's going over to the Switch. The Switch's controllers are going to have an accelerometer and all that good fun motion control bullshit. Mm-hmm. Do you think that would be actually the next best thing for Skyrim, is having that, like, you can move around?
No, I was going to say, because if that's the case, they could have put Skyrim on the fucking Wii or the Wii U, and it would have been the same thing.
Yeah, but it wouldn't have... Maybe the PlayStation Move.
Or the PlayStation Move. I mean, well,
but
you could
maybe not.
You could have done it on the Wii U, because you can use motion plus controllers from the Wii on the Wii U.
Well, you could, but just like the Wii U console itself wouldn't have been able to process Skyrim.
I don't know. You'd be surprised.
I don't know.
Like, I've seen some shitty computers run Skyrim.
Yeah, that's a good point too.
No, it's just like, I don't know. Also, the Xbox 360 ran Skyrim, and I'm pretty sure the Wii U was stronger than the Xbox 360.
Was it?
I'm pretty sure.
You sure?
Mm-hmm.
I never played the Wii U, so I couldn't tell you.
I'm pretty sure. But no, I mean, like, no, to me, like, if I wanted to play Skyrim VR, I want to be immersed. Like, I want to have that fucking headset on and be in the world. Mm-hmm. Like, it's one thing for motion controllers. Like I said, or like Jody was saying, like, you won't understand until you actually put a headset on. Mm-hmm. It's like you actually get inserted into the world. Like, you're injected into that world. It's very convincing. Like, anybody can fucking play with Rudy Poo motion controllers. Like,
right. That'd be funny. So if they did come out with Skyrim for VR and Caitlin was like, I'm going to live in there, she's going to be like, Alex, I need you to feed me because I'm about to eat this carrot.
That being said, some people have actually made mods to play Skyrim in VR.
Okay.
I think they've done Skyrim and Fallout 4, but I'm trying to think.
Caitlin's sitting over there. Why haven't we played this yet?
I want to say it might have been an Oculus only thing.
Okay.
It was either because I remember reading about it a little bit, but it was either an Oculus only thing or a dev kit thing. Because before the Vive actually came out, you could, same thing with the Oculus, you could go online and order a dev kit for pretty much this price they're selling them for now. And they sent you a fucking headset and the shitty controllers it came with. But I think some people had actually modded Skyrim to play in VR. But I don't think it was all of Skyrim. I think it was like a very limited area. Also, I've looked into trying to get it to like download and play, and it was out of my grasp. Like I could not understand how to do it. But I think I remember the thing being it was a dev kit thing, and that's why I couldn't do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 What's the next Bethesda game? Is it going to be Elder Scrolls 6?
I don't know. We'll find out the Sunday before E3.
Yes. Oh, by the way, I'm not going to E3. I decided against it. I didn't tell you about that. I'm going to be in Los Angeles for E3.
I think you did tell us.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
I decided-
Picard's going to E3.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
He went to PAX South too.
Yeah, I think he's going to E3 too.
Nice. Good for him. Shit's
Yeah.
expensive.
Fucking asshole.
Like the fucking passes to go to E3 are like $150, $250.
So it was $150 for
change.
that Monday,
Yeah, for the early bird Monday.
for the early
and
bird
that's $250, I
stuff,
think.
and now it's $250.
Oh.
Yeah, dude, fuck that. I
Fuck
like
that.
I like
Plus-
E3, but I'll watch it from a computer.
No.
I
I'm
think
fine
I
with
would enjoy it more from a computer, like sitting at home.
Yeah, I was
rather
about to
than
say
dealing
like
with
there's
the
very
hot, sweaty
few
people.
There's very few reasons that I like to be around large quantities of people. And as much as I would love to be able to get hands-on with games like that or get a little bit of free swag, like I don't know. Like being around all those sweaty neckbeards and shit, I already have to do it once a year for MechaCon. I don't think I could do it twice a year.
Bye, Caitlin.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to do that.
No, I just like
Like, honestly, the only reason I would want to go to E3 is to get to play all the cool shit early.
and see, I would just go for the free shit.
I would just go for the presentations.
Because there's a video of Markiplier when he, first started doing... I say first started doing
He had the
YouTube.
omnidirectional treadmill that he got to hop on.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
what?
is
I would love that.
ridiculous.
Can you get that, Jody?
Huh?
I will play VR if you have an omnidirectional
If I had
treadmill.
room for a fucking omnidirectional
Dude,
treadmill...
if you've seen his
Jody,
room,
you need to buy a house and then upgrade your VR
like
system.
Yeah,
his
I do.
plate, like if we put these three trays together, like that's the size of his play space in his room. It's tiny.
Like, I have the bare minimum required play space. But that being said, if I ever had a house, I would dedicate a room to VR.
Yeah.
To give myself the optimal play space.
You can see. So Jessica and I are talking about building a house. You've never been out in my place, but we have this big old empty field that we're going to build a house on. And I was like, look, you can decide every room of the house except
The man cave.
the man cave. And that's going to be like where I record shit. That's where I'm going to be able to play shit.
When you walk in,
Everything.
it's nothing but leather BDSM equipment everywhere.
Yes. With a camera.
because it's not prostitution if it's videoed.
There you go.
Since we're on the subject of VR, something that kind of bugs me about VR, and it's Oculus specifically, is that Oculus has been going around. I say going around. There's only like one game I know that they did this with, and they're basically signing contracts with these these small developers, and hey, we'll back your game, but you got to make the game for our our VR, and it becomes a VR exclusive.
Is that what happened with Superhot?
Yes.
Motherfuckers. Dude, Oculus has no room to be doing that shit because fucking Zenimax just like sued the shit out of Facebook.
Yeah. But
Well, I say Facebook, Oculus, but it's owned by Facebook.
Same thing. But that's something that kind of bugs the shit out of me is that, like, how are you going to make a game exclusive on a specific VR headset? That's like, oh man, we just made this new game, but you can't play unless you have this graphics card.
That sucks.
Yeah. That being said, someone has come up with a fantastic workaround
Yeah.
called the Revive.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He's getting clausy.
But I just want to throw that out there that I'm aggravated about Oculus exclusive bullshit.
Dude, like, I don't know. I feel like that VR is way too new for them to be pushing exclusive shit like that.
Well, the thing is, like, I think my opinion is they realize the Vive is doing way better than they are, and they're so behind that they have to do something to make up, like, their losses, basically. Because the Vive is already, like, HTC is already working on new technology for their stuff.
Yeah, they're working on. I've seen the prototypes of the new controllers that they're working on.
The little, like, attachment things.
Yeah, it's like a second controller. There's like one on the back and one on the front. It's like how you hold it weird. Like I've seen a few prototypes of like stuff that they're working on.
Because recently they announced it's basically like this weird little, almost looks like a small crown that attaches to different controllers.
Oh, I know what you're talking. No, this is a whole new like hand controller.
Oh, really?
It looks like two controllers, like one in your hand and one on your back, your hand, and it's supposed to increase the tracking. But they're also, I think, working on tracking gloves to where your fingers.
Yeah,
can each
because
be tracked.
that's what I was about to say. There's because they have that new thing coming out, which I don't remember what it's called, but it looks like a little crown. And it follows the camera.
And you can put it like on a baseball bat or something like that.
Yeah, you can put it on a baseball bat, a tennis racket. You can put it on pretty much anything, I guess. You can put it on a camera. You can. I'm trying to think of what else they had. I don't remember who's developing, but I think someone's developing a mock rifle that you can put it on. Somebody's developing a pistol. I think it's actually the same people that's doing the rifle. And then somebody's developing some gloves that you put it on the back of your glove, and it has sensors inside the glove. So when you you close your hand, it's not as like advanced as like, oh, I'm gonna fucking do like this, and the controller's gonna do like the hand's gonna do that.
Sure.
It's like, oh, I'm gonna grab this in the game, and when you close your hand in the game, it'll close your hand.
Yeah.
And then there's another company working on a wireless thing.
Yeah, I sent you that video.
Yeah.
Which I think you can actually buy those already.
You have to import them from China.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, they're not available in the U.S. yet.
Fucking Chinese get all the cool shit.
Yeah, there's actually like
Them
a lot
Japanese.
There's a lot of cool shit coming out for the
Vive.
For the Vive.
Dude, I'm gonna be completely honest. I guarantee you the reason is because Oculus is very, very stuck up on their development standards. Like Valve has always been very much like open source everything.
Oh yeah.
Like with any kind of source engine based game or any kind of Valve game, you can mod the fuck out of those games. You can do whatever you want because they're very much like, here's the open source for it. Do what you want because you help us create the content.
Yeah.
And they took a very similar approach with the HTC Vive. With the Vive, they were literally like, here's the dev kits for free. Like, or not the dev, but like here's the developer software for free, and like do whatever the fuck you want. And that's allowing people to have fun and experiment and actually do cool things with the Vive. But with Oculus, it's just like they're
like they shut down people who were trying to like work around them not having open source.
Exactly, like fucking like I'm pretty sure there's probably a mod or something around that allows you to play Vive games on the Oculus, and I don't see fucking.
No, there is.
Oh, there is. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't see fucking Valve shutting that shit down.
Yeah.
Like Valve's like, nah. I mean, it's open source. Do what you want with it. But
Wait, you're saying play Vive games on the Oculus?
Yes.
That I don't know about.
Okay.
I know there definitely 100% is.
Oculus games play on the Vive.
Yes.
I do know that because that's what you're talking about earlier.
Yeah.
The Revive.
I'm pretty sure there is though.
I would imagine.
That's how you kill a market before it even has a chance to grow.
Yep.
Is by not letting it be open source.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Shame on you, Facebook.
Yeah, dude, fuck. Like that's kind of that thing that's going on right now. Is like I feel like that VR is going to be dead in its tracks just because of the selfishness of the current gen developers for that format.
Personally,
Other than Valve,
yeah, I was gonna
obviously.
say I don't think Valve is gonna let the Vive die.
Oh, absolutely not. They're already developing like new controllers, new peripherals, and shit like that for it.
That being said, I think the fact that Oculus or Facebook, whoever, got sued for so much money unless they do something like significantly better, they're probably gonna go under.
Yeah, it sucks because ZeniMax didn't get as much money as they wanted. I think they were trying to sue for like $2 billion, and they only got $500 million. But still,
Still, that's a lot of fucking money.
$500 million. Well, I mean, and god damn it, it was proven. I mean, it was proven in a court of law at least that the creators of Oculus fucking took some very important information whenever they left ZeniMax and made the Oculus, which is another really interesting thing. Think about what would have happened if those developers for Oculus would have stayed at ZeniMax, and ZeniMax would have created the VR headset instead of creating a new IP called Oculus.
You know what we would have?
Fucking Skyrim VR.
Yes. We would have... I don't think it would have been Skyrim. I think it would have been ESO. And it wouldn't have been like, oh, man, I'm going to swivel arms around, swivel swords. It would have been like, I'm going to put this headset on and play mouse and
on your mouse and keyboard.
Could you imagine if Todd Howard had fucking created a VR headset? Dude,
then we would have
shit.
Skyrim VR.
Dude, shit would be lit.
That'd be phenomenal.
And see, like, we're about to bring it back to the fucking Switch, like we always do. That's one of the...
Sean Murray.
PewDiePie. We're just gonna throw out buzzwords. The Switch. That's the one thing I'm excited about with the Switch is just because of the possibilities that they're. One of the things that I've always admired about Nintendo is that their ability for adaptation, but also their ability to come up with new ideas. They have always been the leading innovators in the gaming market. Like, always have. Whenever fucking Microsoft and Sony are like, HDMI cables, fucking Nintendo's like, fuck that, motion controllers. And then the next generation, Xbox, but okay, Kinect. And then Sony's like, but okay, the Move.
Yeah.
And then fucking Nintendo's like, motion controller and a touchscreen tablet that you can bring to your bathroom to poop with. And then now they're like, fuck that. It's a console
anywhere.
And it's a tablet. And you can take it to other people's house to poop. and so like, I think it's really interesting though, because like, this is one of the first times I've seen a successful implementation of what I would consider a modular console. I'm very big into like PC gaming and PC computer parts and stuff. And one of the things I've seen is that motherboard developers are looking for ways to develop modular motherboards. So whenever your motherboard starts getting out of date, instead of having to replace the whole goddamn thing, you just replace modules.
That would be awesome.
That would be awesome.
Wait, I think the only company that's like, there's one company that's actively trying to develop something like this, I think is MSI, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that thing squeaks. Sorry.
What thing?
It's like a little Tweety bird that Satsuma plays with. Is he right there?
Yeah.
Oh. I was like, what the fuck is it?
And so, like, one of the big things with motherboards is, like, motherboards have, like, the chipsets that, Can you take that from me?
I think it's cute.
Oh, no, he's very cute.
He's gonna bite you.
No, he won't.
Okay, motherfucker. Why the fuck did you do that? Okay.
He's scared.
I thought he ran the opposite way.
But yeah, so like with motherboards, one of the bad things about motherboards is the hardest component to change in a computer. And so I think it's smart that they're trying to do modular motherboards. Like your chipset, which controls one of the major parts that controls the power of the motherboard and the speed of the motherboard, is upgraded relatively frequently in the market. And so having a module that you could be like, boop, take that off, put a new chipset on it. Or even another LGA socket to be able to have whatever processor you want, stuff like that. That's smart.
That being said, so I'm guessing it would basically be a base that you put the modules on. Would the base ever go out of date?
I mean, I would say eventually, but to be honest, I think that's one of the reasons why modular components, like anything modular, has never picked up steam, because it's harder to make a lot of money on them in the long run.
Yeah.
Because
but honestly, if having a modular motherboard, as long as I'm not spending fucking $200-$300 per module, then
I would imagine not.
Then I wouldn't mind spending the extra money to get a motherboard that's modular if it lasted twice as long.
Yeah, well, and I think that one of the things though is like, I think motherboard manufacturers can make, or manufacturers in general can make more money by selling a whole new piece of equipment that's slightly updated, than versus like you spending significantly less money just to upgrade a tiny part of it. And so I think that's kind of the point we're at in like the electronics world is like, it's way more beneficial for companies to just like barely upgrade something and then charge another $600 for a product.
Yeah.
But going back to the Switch, we've talked about this before, but there are patents floating around that Nintendo patented for a VR headset that you slip the Switch tablet in.
I don't know about that.
But if you think about it, that could be like
it's dangerously close to an Oculus headset.
No, not necessarily. I mean, it is going to be big and bulky, but it's going to be just like a housing. Like,
well,
you slip it in, and then also you already have motion controllers that attach to the Switch.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is dangerously close to an Oculus is the Oculus is one screen that has eye sockets, and I don't know exactly how it works. The Vive is two separate screens.
No, yeah. I'm just saying, like if you think about it from like a developer standpoint, the flexibility that the Switch itself has is what makes it a very good marketable product. Because the fact that it's meant to be a touchscreen tablet console that you take wherever you want, but the fact that it has the possibility to be able to be turned into a VR headset is pretty fucking revolutionary. Just in general.
But, like, my cell phone can do that.
Exactly.
And it looks like shit.
Yeah, but that's a cell phone.
You're right. But I'm just worried that, like, yeah, it'll be cool if Nintendo can do that, but I'm just worried that it's going to look like this.
It's going to be a $400 attachment, too. Like, I'm not knocking the idea or the technology behind it.
Not until you try it.
Right. But, like, it's kind of been done.
It has. Like, it's not new territory for the area, but also, if you think about it, the highest selling VR headset in the world is the Samsung Gear VR.
And that sucks.
But there's a reason for it, because it's consumer friendly. It's the cheapest one on the market by hundreds of dollars. So if you think about it, for people who already have a Switch, all you have to do is just buy a piece of hardware, which I don't think it'd be $400 just because it would be a housing.
I mean, their fucking controllers are $80.
Yeah, you're right about that. But the fact that, like, let's say if it's $150 and it's an attachment for a Switch, and the Switch itself already has motion controller functionality, that could prove itself to be a more consumer-friendly product than the Samsung Gear VR.
And it would be wireless.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm sold.
God damn it, Jode.
and that's kind of what I'm saying is, like, I'm not necessarily saying it's going to be good, because it has a potential to be very shitty.
Right.
But just the adaptability of Nintendo's marketing strategies and the initiative that they take to be able to reimagine the wheel is very, very commendable on their part. And at that, I think we should probably end this podcast.
Sure.
We've been going for an hour.
Sure.
Just an hour?
Well, take out that 10-minute phone conversation, so about 50 minutes.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay. I just want to give you shit.
Apparently he called me twice.
I got you.
So I only saw the second phone call. But yeah, so this has been a podcast all over the place. We went from fucking talking about Sean Murray to the Switch to VR to Dean Hall to early access.
I will say, did you like how I made the transition from early access to VR? How I combined VR early access games?
That was a good
fucking segue master over here. Why don't you get your segue outside and go mall cop it up?
Paul Blart.
Jody East, mall cop.
Mall cop.
All right, well, I guess that'll be it for the Immature Hour podcast. My name is Alex.
I'm Jody.
My name's Ben.
I gotta end the podcast. And we'll see you next week. Bye. Bye.